It has become evident to me that what you focus on will remain continuous. I heard somebody famous say, and it's important we note them that they're famous, say, it didn't stop happening, the cameras just turned on, right? So now you're able to focus on it. But that's a slippery slope because just because it's in focus don't mean you can't connect the dots any way you want. It's still perceived from several vantage points, yours not being the only one. And I mean, is it my problem to solve? It's not my problem to solve. That'll be like me calling into a radio sweepstakes, but I'm calling the wrong station, right? You could just change the channel and it all makes sense again, right? But I think that's too simple of an argument. I think more accurately, and I'm gonna be honest, I hate saying this because I don't want to solve nobody else's problem. But we are all together, in my opinion, just based off my thought process. I feel like as a collective, we know everything. We're just broken in a way where we can't decipher it, right? It's like looking off into the distant skyscrapers is similar to looking at one of those puzzle, those hidden puzzle, visual puzzles where you have to look at the page just long enough for the image to come into focus. Otherwise, it's discontinuous noise. So, given everybody knows everything, there's probably in the experience of the human existence somebody that already mapped out the plans on how we're going to lay siege on the other side once we escape. We just got to escape. And for all I know, all that's going to take is a perfect round. You know how you have a perfect game of bowling? And that's the only game worthy of celebrating, really, right? If we were able to play a perfect round at these crossroads, I don't believe we would have any charge to remain here. But as far as I know, given I exist in the first place, humans have never played a perfect round. And so we stay out of focus. You only focus on the winners. God is winning right now. That's why the focus is on him. That's why even us, the losers, are focused on the winners, because we know we're not winners. So that's what I'm saying. The only reason I would look at something as feeling like I could even do anything about it, I would have to feel like it's a part of me, right? So basically, what I believe is we could have been escaped Earth, been escaped our turmoil and toil if we were just able to play a perfect round. So tell me what's getting in the way of that? The way we connect the dots, right? This ain't even my problem to solve. I could just change the channel. I could. I could change the channel and go roller skating right now in the middle of the night. I could just change the channel and none of that makes sense anymore, right? So when they said the cameras turned on, they didn't tell you they was going to be directing the narrative as it turned. They didn't tell you that part. They just told you, well, the camera's on, so you see it now. But you could just as easily see something totally different. They're lying to you because they think they're smarter than you. I mean, they know they're smarter. That's why they're able to get away with lying, because they know they're smarter than you. And then I gotta take this they out of it. I gotta take this they out of it. Because it's really a buffoon that's doing that. Because you think if they knew we could escape Earth in this bitch lock of a universe, if they knew we could escape, do you think they would be getting in the way? Heck, The whole reason they're causing turmoil is because they're unsatisfied at these crossroads. Whatever you focus on is going to be continuous, no matter what it is. All you got to do is change the channel. All you got to do is change the channel. So why aren't you changing the channel? Because you're a loser. Because you're a loser. So as a winner, what do winners do? If losers can't change the channel, what do winners do? They provide options. Stop trying to make decisions for other people. They don't see the same reality as you. Give them options to choose from. But of course, that opens the door. If you're a manipulative bastard, you're just going to give them options that lead them back to your way of being. They're just going to be in agreement because you took them around the way. A distraction. A distraction. People are easily distracted because they believe they are unworthy to set their own course. They don't believe they're worthy of it. Something must have hit them at a young age, like a doctor spank when they came out of the baby. I can't think of nothing earlier than that. Oh, it's to wake them up. But we all know, just like we live in a world of cooperation, we also live in a world of contradiction. The black hole sucks in, but didn't Stephen Hawking prove that it's also Hawking radiation pushing out? It collects, but it also contradicts at a different angle. So yeah, the doctor slaps you to wake you out of your dream, your baby dream, but he also in the same strike submits you. Just like you sign a birth, like everybody's trying to scheme on how to get money out of their birth certificate. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I don't think human beings want to accept our predicament. That's the problem. There are too many human beings who would rather be dumb and carried by somebody else than accept what our predicament is. You have to do it alone. If you cannot do it alone, it will never be your home. You will always be piggybacking and sidekicking. Remember Batman had the Batmobile, but then Robin had to sit next to him in a little janky looking thing? His seat wasn't as glorious as Batman's, was it? That's because he was playing a sidekick. None of us have to play the sidekick, and that's not destructive. That's not destructive. The reason why they want you to think you have to play the sidekick and it's destructive otherwise, remember, us humans go through a cycle, right? If you can fast forward that cycle, you can overlap, right? But just like I can cheat on holding my breath, if holding my breath is a way to like reassess my situation and make me grateful again, I don't have to hold my breath. The lazy way would be to smoke weed, because smoking weed allows me to hold my breath without holding my breath. See, I can even be a bitch about doing some bitch shit. Well, I ain't gonna say smoking some bitch shit because it's enlightened me in several ways. Because every negative has a positive, and every positive has a contradiction. Humans don't want to accept that. We probably could have escaped this millions of years ago. We probably could have escaped. Now, I'm not saying I'm the key or I'm perfect, because I know I'm not. If it was up to me, we probably be going around this loop for another 100 million years. But what I'm saying is, if we can conceptualize this in our mind, collective mind, that all we got to do is play a perfect round and we can leave this shit behind forever, probably to go into the glory of the turmoil of battling what's beyond it. I mean, what else is there to do? Right? Like, here we know we're going to get more bullshit. There is a 50-50 chance. All we got to do is play a perfect round. And that should be easy because we weren't never together in the first place. It be those bitches that need to hitch on to somebody. They create these manipulation games. It's their fault. It really is. Because they can't exist alone and they don't want to be seen as bitches, weak bitches, They place themselves as above their fellow man, and then they say that fellow man needs them, when it's really the opposite. It's a contradiction. Whatever is presented in the light is a lie. Like, think about your senses. Think about your senses. If there's a crossroad of vision and hearing, there's also a crossroad of sight and feeling. Like when they say play basketball, pay attention to your gut, they mean literally, right? But here's the thing. You can only focus on one thing at a time. You can only focus on one thing at a time, and the thing that's visual is more of a lie, because the whole point of sight is seeing from a distance. And we know that stream changes in an instant, right? So you really, I would trust my feeling more than I trust my vision. Because the light can change like that. The light is the fastest thing moving. The light can change in an instant. Your feelings take a little bit more time to get concentrated on you. You know what I mean? Your touch, and then your hearing, and then your sight from a more distance. But if you think about it, other than your mind's eye, everything else is really just a big ear. Your whole body is a big ear. That's why we live in a world of sonics and vibrations, and the earth is an ear drum. Heartbeat, rhythm, thinking and feeling at the same time, rhythm. I could think and be erratic all over the place. I could feel and never go nowhere, but be big and bold. Or I can combine them both and make the music that is. The universe is just an abstract version of music, or vice versa, right? What you focus on is what's going to be continuous. If they direct what you focus on, that's your reality. If I focus on the bass, the hi-hat might seem a little bit more invisible. If I focus on the bass, you might not hear the voice so clearly. So it is a point of focus. And the winners provide options for the choosers, right? And isn't it better to be a winner? At least as a winner, you don't get caught up on the murky, muddy channels, do you? As a winner, you can see the options, so you can provide them, right? So you want to be a winner that's able to see multiple options. That way, when this blacksmith of a social psychologist comes at me and tells me I'm supposed to perceive this, I can just change the channel. Losers can't change the channel. Losers don't believe in themselves. They've already been defeated. But maybe there's even a key to that. If we know the visual is a lie, if people are intimidated, it's because something hit them. These people don't believe in themselves, and they take guidance so easily because life slapped them. If you gave them confidence, just for example, the most confident men, the ones that are able to make the women jealous, are the ones that aren't bothered by their presence, right? Because their whole time growing up, they never knew a time of ridicule. You know what I mean? So life it's unfair, but if you understand it, you step like out of the black cube, one step over into the white cube. If you can outstep it, then you understand like, oh, it is fair. It's just fair on another level. It's just fair at a 90-degree angle or 40, whatever. You get my point? It's fair in a twisted way, right? But if you step out another square, it probably won't seem so fair anymore. But really, there's only two squares, aren't there? You got either this way or that way. There's only two squares. You can simplify it. So if there are only two squares, then there must be two squares or just me, right? If it were just me, that's impossible, because if it was just me, I would get what I want all the time without having to think about it. Is the comparison that gives me the consciousness. That's probably why they both starts with C. And I can't see nothing without it, right? Light is a lie, but the world of sound is built on top of it. Yeah, so everything we see, we are the out of phase version. We're built on top of the light, right? But in a contradictory fashion. That's why the light is a lie. But if we could play a perfect round and not center the density around us, then maybe we can escape his blows. But that might take a little abstract thinking. And I know that's probably that's probably on this channel. On this channel, it doesn't seem like that's what they want. So You have to provide an example for people where they can choose a different thing. The only problem is if that example comes from another man or anything other than that person's own imagination, it's only going to lead them down a darker path. And so you see, Harriet Tubman wasn't a villain, Kanye. Harriet Tubman wasn't a villain for taking them to a bigger ship, right? That's all she could do, given she was trying to direct them her way. We have our own individual spaces, but that takes me back to the point of how they use celebrities to like mix match your focus. That's exactly what he did. He played that sympathy play, and they do this to black people all the time. And I can speak on this because I'm black. They do this to black people all the time. They give us credit for nothing. You know how they tell me, stop telling that girl she pretty if she ain't pretty. That's what they do to black people all the time. And anybody is a player, black people are players, right? We the most players, we the most soulful, the most player, we have the most fun, right? So if I'm just gonna say, if black people are the most player, they should know why you don't compliment a bitch, why you don't give bitches empty compliments. Because a bitch is on an ever quest for power. It can't help itself. It cannot take care of itself. A bitch cannot think for itself. And that's why she's your beautiful, intelligent, terrific, he or she, your beautiful, intelligent, terrific, courageous heaven on earth. Why? Because they must be. That's the only way you deal with it. Calling a bitch beautiful is like calling them retarded in a negative direction. It's like, you're retarded, but I can't escape you, so I'm just going to imagine that you're beautiful. That's what we do when we say life is beautiful. When Louis Armstrong set up and told that motherfucking lie, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. You think Miles Davis was saying that when he was getting his ass beat? But you think he was? You think he was saying that? You think Miles Davis was saying it's a wonderful world when he was turning his back on the crowd? And doesn't Miles Davis match the time of the times? Or, think about when Miles Davis was popular versus when Louis Armstrong was popular. Louis Armstrong was obviously lying. Or Miles Davis was obviously lying. It really just matters what channel you're on. So my question is this. More fundamentally than what the news may show you, I'm not against the news. What is in your heart? Because if I see violence on the news, but violence ain't inside of me, it don't resonate with me. It don't resonate with me. All right? The thing that's resonating with me is these motherfuckers are slowing us down. Us down. They are slowing us down. We might be able to escape this bullshit dimension if we can just play a perfect round. But how are we going to do it when we're surrounded by bitches who only want to go their own way? Heck, even me illustrating this idea is probably mostly going to fall on deaf ears. But what gives me the courage to do it is that I know I must perform for my critics and their jeers. That makes me a better person for my fans. See, if I perform for my fans, that would be great for my critics because they have a field day criticizing me. If I perform for my critics, my fans gonna eat up anything I do anyway. I ain't gonna say that, but they're gonna see it as a triumphant thing to get over on my critics. You understand? It's contradictory. We're sitting here playing with each other because we can't accept that we're alone. So we force other people into our realities, which is wrong. That's wrong. I don't care. That's wrong.